So let's go ahead and go over these. So number 2, I have to get rid of the plus 80, right? How do I get rid of plus 80? Minus 80 from both sides. So then I end up with x squared equals 20. Now I'm going to take square root of both sides. If I do that, I'll end up with x equals square root of 20. All right, so now we have to go back to our, it says simplify this. So we have to go back to our whole thing of 20. So 20 is really what times what I can factor it, right? So I can take a, what's the easiest thing I can take out of here for sure? It's even, so I can take out a 2. Does that make sense? So I can take out a 2, and I'm left with 10. I can take another 2 out. Remember our little factoring trees, and I'm left with 5. These are all prime numbers. So these are my factors of 20. So this is really the same thing as, so square root of 20 is equal to the square root of 2 times 2 times 5. What kind of jail is this? It's a little bit of a review from chapter 4. What kind of jail is it? Is it a 2-type jail or a 3-type jail? 2-type jail. Remember, there's an invisible 2 here. Everybody remember? Yeah. So they come out in groups of 2. They break out in groups of 2. 2 on the inside makes 1 on the outside. I remember that? Yeah. 2 on the inside makes 1 on the outside. Yeah. So I'm breaking these guys out here. You 2 are breaking out. You make 1 on the outside. He's all by himself. So I'm left with 2 on the outside. The 5 is still inside jail. Everybody got that? Mm-hmm. So x equals 2 times the square root of 5. That's your answer. You don't have to worry about the plus minus because you have a square root. As long as you have a square root, that's automatically plus minus. Does everyone kind of follow? Okay. Now let's take a look at the next one. We did 3, we're going to look at 4. So 4, I need to get the square root by itself. It has this negative 49 here. I need to get rid of that. How do I get rid of negative 49? How do I get rid of subtracting 49? Add 49 to both sides. So then I'll have x minus 5 squared equals 49. Now what do I do? Yep, square root both sides. So on the left I'll have x minus 5. On the right, I'm going to take a square root of a number, so it could be 7 or negative 7. Everybody on board? So now I have 2. I have x minus 5 equals 7. I have x minus 5 equals negative 7. I need to, I probably don't need that. I need to add 5 to both sides. And here I'll get x equals 12. That's one solution. Over here I'm going to add 5 to both sides. And I'll get x equals, I owe $7, I have $5. Altogether, my net worth is negative $2. Good? Okay, great. This one here, a little more complicated, right? So this one here, I have to get rid of the 3. What am I doing to the 3? Am I adding 3? So to this number here, am I adding 3 to it, subtracting 3 from it, multiplying it by 3, or dividing by 3? What am I doing? What am I doing now? It's being multiplied. So what's the opposite of multiply? Divide. So I'm going to divide both sides by 3. And maybe draw a line down here in the middle. So you're just going to divide both sides once, which means that this goes away. I'll get x minus 1 squared equals 27. Right. So I did not mean to do that. But if I square both sides, I'll get x minus 1 equals square root of 27. We can pull some stuff out of there. But for now, let's do it. Let's add 1 to both sides. So I need to solve for x. So I want to understand what I'm saying. As x minus 1 equals square root of 27, I need to get rid of the minus 1 because I need to solve for x. I need x equals. Or now I have x minus 1 equals. So I need to get rid of the minus 1. How to get rid of the minus 1?
Plus 1.
Add 1 to both sides. And it's kind of weird. It's just going to be x equals 1 plus square root of 27. And that's the best we can do. I'm unhappy with the fact that I did not change that problem. But there you go.
Let's see, you don't want to make it all the way to 3, square root of 3, factor it, and then...
You could. If you did 3 times square root of 3, that'd be great.
Oh, okay.
And would that make it 4 square root 3?
No, would not.
Oh.
Yeah. So think of a square root. So you could do this. So everybody look up. Think of this square root of 3 kind of like an x or something else being multiplied. It's not just a number. So you can't just add the 1 and the 3. You can't do that because the 3 is being multiplied by square root of 3.
Oh.
Does that make sense for folks? But let's do this. Let's just pull out our phones and do the square root of 27. 27 square rooted, raised to the 1/2 power, right? Square root is the 1/2 power. So raise it up to the 1/2 power. I'll show what I mean.
Well, I don't know how to do that.
Okay. So here's my calculator. I'm going to have 27, and I'm going to raise it to the 1/2 power, to the 0.5 power. Just like that.
Oh,
Because 1/2 is a decimal is 0.5. And we'll get 5.196.
yeah.
Okay? Positive, negative. So let's just go back and do that. Heck with this other stuff. I'm just going to put x plus 1 and x minus 1 equals positive, negative 5.196. Was that right, what I said? 196. So it means that x minus 1 equals 5.196. And x minus 1 equals negative 5.196. Let's just do it that way.
Yeah, okay.
Does that seem reasonable?
Yeah.
So now I need to add 1 to both sides. And I'll get, you can leave the other part if you want. X equals, if I add 1 to here, I'll get 6.196. Add 1 to both sides. Here I'll get, let's see, I owe $5.19 something cents, and I have $1, so now I only owe $4.196. So those are your two answers. All right, here's the hard one. Gabe, do you want to share your work on this one?
Yeah.
Is that explain it?
Is that right?
Sort of, but you skipped a whole bunch of steps. That's okay.
Okay.
You combine like 3 steps into 1 step, which is a little bit harder.
I'll try to expand it then.
Okay. Yeah, that'd be
Should I
great.
just show it first? Or
Yeah,
draw
sure.
it?
Oh, you draw it on here. That's perfect. So when you hover, it shows you where you are.
Okay.
Down, you right. To undo, it's that button right there.
Okay, so first, start off by subtracting the 18.
Oh, you know what, I'm gonna give you this, it will be, it's a little bit, switch this one, it writes a little bit better, but it's just thicker, so it's all, doesn't read as well, so I don't know which one you want to do.
Yeah, I'll use this one.
Great, so you subtracted 18 from both sides? Is everyone on board with that?
Mm-hmm.
You want to get this by itself first, and then,
Okay, so we got minus 18, and then divide by -2, both sides. These cancel. These cancel. Then,
oh, change colors, red.
then we got,
He's gonna, oh, he's square root of both sides?
I'll just rewrite it first.
Oh, okay.
X minus 4 squared equals 18 divided by 2 is 9. There we go.
Mm-hmm.
And then we can square root both sides.
Yes.
And then that comes out to x minus 4 equals plus or minus 3.
Give me a little extra tail on your 4. 4 is a little sloppy. Yeah. Perfect.
Then we can,
On the right, you can do that on the right if you
yeah, we
want.
can bring this up here.
Mhm.
And then we're going to have x minus 4 equals 3. And then x minus 4 equals -3. And then from here, we can just add 4 to both sides. So for this one,
If you hit the right, right arrow, yeah. And then we'll face it.
so the noun will equal
The eraser, yeah.
So then this one will be x equals 7, and this one comes out to x equals 1, -3 plus +4 equals 1.
Great. Thank you. Anybody have any questions for Gabe?
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, nicely explained, well done. All right, perfect. Good. So now, we get to quadratic formula. This one you're going to need for your homework that's due tonight that I will move to tomorrow. So this is how the quadratic formula works. And these are problems we already did today in class. So you can verify by putting in the quadratic formula that they work the same, you get the same solution you got earlier. Does that everyone understand? So here, for example, these two x squared minus 12x minus 45, we solved this back here,
X squared minus 4x minus 4.
right? And we got x is -3 and x is 15. Everybody remember that? So it's the same one, but now you're going to try using the quadratic formula so you can make sure that you get the same answers you got earlier. I'll do one, we'll do one from kind of similar to your homework. So we'll say -1/16x squared plus 6x plus 5 equals 0. So your homework was this. So this is one of your homework problems from tonight that you'll have to do before tomorrow. It says, at what distance does it hit the ground? So my y is my height. When my height hits the ground, what's my height when you hit the ground? 0. So when it hits the ground, it means my y is 0. So it means that I'm going to put in 0 for y. Now I need to solve for this. So quadratic formula is when you first have to set it equal to 0. If it's not equal to 0, you have to make it equal to 0, like we did in some earlier problems. Correct? Everyone remember that? So now, this problem, what's my a?
-116.
What's my B?
Six.
What's my C, everybody? 5, perfect. So then I'm gonna put it in here. And my solutions are gonna be x equals negative b, negative 6, plus or minus the square root of b squared, so that's 6 squared. Sure, 6 squared, minus 4 times a is negative 1/16, times c is 5. All of that is over 2 times a, negative 1/16. All right, this is kind of a pain. We'll work through it. So we'll get negative 6 plus or minus. Let's see, the first part, 6 squared is 36. And then if I put this in my calculator, I'll end up getting minus plus, minus cancels out, I'll get plus 5/4, or 1.25. Divided by negative 1/8. And then I'm gonna find this.
What did you reduce?
Well, no, I'm literally, yeah, 2 times 1/16 is 1/8.
Oh, you just did the total.
And then I'm gonna grab out my handy dandy calculator. And I'm gonna say I need to find the square root of, so 36, on the inside I have 36 plus 1.25. Everybody with me, okay, on that part? And I'm gonna square root it. Again, the easiest way to square root something is to raise it to the 1/2 power. So I'm gonna, this little caret up, raise it to. Your calculator may have x to the y. It might have a little button x to the y. But it's the same thing to the 1/2 power, 0.5. Not 5, 0.5, 1/2. So I'll get 6.103.
Where did you get that from?
I took 36 and added 1.25 to it, and I square rooted it.
Okay.
So,
I
37.125 square root.
37.25, and I square rooted it. I raised it to the 1/2 power,
But why'd you raise it to the 1/2 power?
because I'm square rooting it.
Wouldn't square root be raising it to 2?
No, that's
Oh.
squaring it.
Oh.
Squaring it is raising it to the 2nd power. Square rooting it is raising it to the 1/2 power,
Oh.
1/2. Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up. So then we have negative 6 plus or minus 6.103 over negative 1/8. So I'm going to have two problems. I'll have x equals negative 6 minus 6.103 over negative 1/8. And I'll have x equals negative 6 plus 6.103 over negative 1/8. While I'm here, I'm just going to find negative 1/8 in my calculator, and I'll do that. So that's ends up being negative 0.125. It just makes my life easier. Totally no problem. So then I'll do this one, I'll get negative 12.103 divided by negative 0.125. I never do my negatives in the calculator. I do my negatives separately when I'm multiplying or dividing, and then just sort it out. So I know a negative divided by a negative should be a positive. So it should be positive. Okay, so do you see where, Eric, do you understand how I got this part? All it changes as I took this part
Yeah, I just.
and got that part. Are you with me there?
Yeah, you just plugged it in the calculator at negative.
Yeah. So then this is 2 of them, it's positive, negative. So it means I'm gonna have 2 of them. I'm gonna have minus negative 6. All I did was write the same thing down, only do minus 6.103. And then another one where I did plus 6.103.
So it's a negative, negative 6, negative, oh, one of those are negative, oh, okay.
So the only thing that changed were these two fellows here. This one's the negative, this one's the positive
Oh,
from that.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. We're gonna do 6.
Right, so I need to make them into 2.
Oh, you got rid of the square root by,
I just took the square root of 36, 36 plus 127.
okay. Let's get away this down so I remember. We just have it over now. So you divided to get the 0.125, the 1/8?
Yeah,
You just divided negative 1
Right.
by negative 8 to get
Yeah.
negative 1.25?
right.
So you get 2 answers?
2 answers.
Okay. And which one would you know, would it go?
Okay, so here's the thing, when I divide them, let's see, 12.0103 divided by 0.125, I get 96.824. And on the other one, I get, let's see, 0.103 divided by negative 0.128. I get negative 0.824. Here's my dilemma. How far has it traveled? You can't travel a negative distance. So it's got to be just this one because it's a word problem. Your problem is just a word problem. So your problem is on your homework. See if I can do that. What's my usually? I have no idea what I'm doing. This is terrible.
You know, the curses of autosave.
Yeah, it
I don't
really
even
is.
know if I need to do it.
Maybe? Oh, there you go. Okay. So this is Unit 5, quadratic functions. Preview. So you're looking at
21?
21?
I think it's, oh, they're 20, yeah, 20 and 21.
So yeah, it's these two. So the question, I know where it hits in front, we would do the positive one, the 96.824 feet. So they're going to want something along the lines of, yeah, if I put in here, if I put in 84.825, it'd count as correct. You don't have to put in the exact number, just, I'd say, give yourself 2 or 3 decimal places. Just make sure you round correctly. If I put in 82, it'd mark it wrong because I should round up because of the 5.
Okay, yeah, sometimes you don't know how many decimal places they want.
Right, so there, it's pretty flexible.
Oh, okay.
You give it 2 or 3, and it'll be fine. Now you could also have found this graphically. Right, so we graphed it also on Desmos. So I just put it into Desmos up here. Let's see if I can make this one bigger. And I just plugged it into Desmos. Negative 1 over 16 x squared plus 6x plus 5. You can use this little calculator down here if you need to use that. Or you could just use, when I want the x squared, I just use the little caret up on my keyboard, which is above the 6. But then you can see, okay, you can see where it hits and where it hits the ground and where you start. So I can say, oh look, where did I start? I started where, when x is 0, y is 5. So that's how tall a child is. And then as I go along here, here's my maximum. Oop, there's my maximum. That's the highest I'm at. And then down here, there's my answer for the end. 96.82. Oh, we have 6, they have 4.
Yeah.
We must have rounded a little bit somewhere along the line. I think with the 6.103 is I must have rounded a little bit and knocked that part out, so that's my bad. But I think if you put that in there, you should be all right. Let's try. Yeah, so if you're off a little bit because you're rounding it, it'll take it anyways. I wouldn't see if I did 3, it could take that. Yeah, so it lets you be a little bit off here. See how it's still green, even though I'm off by a couple decimal places? Okay, so yeah, that seems like it's fairly good. And then the last one is the same idea, right? When will the height be 408 feet? You're going to put in 408 for your height, for your h. Does everyone understand what I'm saying? So here, I put in 408 for my feet, and then I need to set this equal to 0 and solve it. When we'll reach the ground, I put in 0 for my h. So the height being 408 feet, we'll go through that one if you want. So here's my problem. What if I said, when will the height, you know what, why don't you folks do a couple of, let me have you folks do problems 1, 2, and 3 first. And just do them as decimals. You don't simplify the radicals, just do them as decimals if you need to. But I want you to get some practice doing the quadratic equation first before I give you the harder one that's on your homework. So go ahead and work through these. There's 2 more on the back. So work through all 5 of those problems. And then the last, oh, I'm supposed to let you folks go a little bit early, but we're supposed to take a break today. It's Friday. So we'll go work through these ones, and then the last few minutes we'll go over them, and then I'll show you that last one for the homework. All right, so there's your A, your B, and your C. Note on number 3, the C is 0. So go ahead and plug them in to your formula, and then solve them. All right, so this is the first one. Okay. So then x is negative 25 minus 25 is negative 50 over 6, which is negative 50 over 6. So I can just do it in my calculator if I want, or I can do it negative 25 over 3.
Which would be 8 and 1/4.
Yeah, 8.33.
8.3 infinite.
I can leave it like that. That's good. We can use these decimals. Anytime we're using a quadratic, decimals are totally fine. All right, so hopefully that gives you sort of a flavor for them. We'll go through these other ones later. So notice in these ones, it's the B that's missing. There's no B. All right, because there's no B term. All right, we'll see you folks on Monday, and I will change that one homework so that it's due tomorrow night.